we might be good to go. Our Zoom thing, the screen.
Yeah, it's starting right now. This is Bridget. I just plugged it in at work and it seems to be working. So stay in the meeting till everybody joins, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I'm getting it live on YouTube as we speak, and I'll let everybody in the meeting hear. It was not working. Eric, can you text the members that it's up and working now?
I'm on it.
Thanks.
I just sent an email to everybody, told them to
Great.
relog in.
And yes, it's on YouTube. I have that turned on now. Okay, we have the two applicants because the second one just joined. So now we just need the board. Well, that was fun.
Was that the fastest drive you've ever made from your house to the office?
I literally caught every green light. I was like, please God, let me get every green light. I mean, and I just threw all my stuff in the bag. I don't even have my zoning code book. So if we need it, Eric, Heather, it has to fall to you. It's on my table. I cannot wait till we have live meetings again. I literally just cannot wait to say goodbye to Zoom. I am zoomed out.
We are back logged in and now we're connected. So it's time for you to try to connect also.
Yeah. I'm waiting to admit the members and nobody's signed in yet, but.
I just got off the phone with Dave Mail. He's now trying to log back in.
Okay.
And John is trying to log back in right now.
What about Paul? Was he in the earlier one?
Paul emailed me a response, so I think he got Heather's response.
Okay. John is joining. John is joining now.
Okay.
Oh, here's Dave Mail too. We just need one more board member and we'll be set.
I'm calling Paul now.
I'll see if I can find Deborah's phone number. Heather, did you text her by chance at all?
No, the number I have actually gave me Tim Sark, so we have the wrong number on our list.
Log in if you can.
Okay.
Use this email from Bridget at 7:04 for the link. Okay, cool. Thanks, Paul. Bye.
Now Bridget's trying to look out the window, but it's a bulletin board.
I'm trying to see if I have anything with Deborah's phone number on it, because she used to be on our fair housing board. These are all our boards, so I'm thinking I might have her on there from that list still.
Oh.
See, we can't go back to in-person meetings because then Dave can't drink whiskey during the meetings.
Yes, he can. He can just use it to go cup. We'll never tell. All right, I have a phone number on this other list. Actually, no, this is an update. Oh wait, here, let me try this. I don't know if it's a cell or not, but I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, the one that says cell, it's the 802 number. That's not the right number.
No, I have them on a fair housing board. She was on our fair housing board.
Oh, right.
So I have a different phone number for her.
Okay, good.
Hello, Jonah.
Hello, Dave. How's it going?
Yeah, COVID-y, but fine.
Yeah.
Paul's joining now.
All we're missing is Deborah.
Right, and Paul should, there we go.
We made it.
Yeah, For some reason, my work laptop was not connecting from home. It kept just dropping from the meeting. So then I logged into my personal computer and was able to get into the Zoom meeting, but then it said I had another one that was going on. So I tried to disconnect that one. Nothing was working. So I told Eric to contact all of you folks, and I got in my car and drove much faster than I was supposed to.
Don't tell the chief.
Exactly the right speed because you got every green light.
I did get all the green lights, exactly. I actually got here in like less than 5 minutes. So all I did was just grab my backpack and carry my laptop like this.
See, where did I go the other day? I managed to miss every traffic light between my house and the church to go up and fix up a data network.
Paul, I'm going to interrupt though, since we're behind on the meeting and we're going to.
Let's roll.
Oh, Debbie's just joining now. All right,
Let's
good.
roll. Let's go. Kyle Vion is a customer.
So we'll have to open the meeting. Paul, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Tim Sarr had to resign from the Board of Zoning Appeals because he works for the city now.
Oh.
So he took over for Jen Barone. He applied and was hired. So you are going to be, as vice chair, you are going to be chairing the meeting today.
Okay.
And the vacancy has been advertised.
I saw that.
Apologies to everyone. Okay.
Yeah, when I saw that on the webpage, I thought, how interesting. Okay. Well, let me call the City of Kent Board of Zoning Appeals public hearing and business meeting March 15th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. to order. Roll call.
Dave Mail.
Paul Selman.
Donna Burton.
Debbie Douglas.
Okay. So we're all here, or at least current here. Okay, let me find a copy of the
Paul,
preamble.
do you want me to read the preamble for you?
No, I have a copy off the minutes. We ready? Variance requests will be considered in the order that they appear on the agenda. Each variance applicant or their representative will first explain the request to the board and will respond to board questions. The board will then hear statements from persons supporting the variance, followed by statements from those persons opposing the variance. All persons making statements will do so under oath and shall state their name and address for the record. Their testimony shall be directed to the board and not to the audience. If a member of the audience wishes to ask a question of one of the speakers, he or she shall first be recognized by the chair of the board and direct the question to the chair. The chair will then direct the question to the appropriate witness. This will allow the meeting to be conducted in an orderly manner. If written statements have been provided to the board, they will be included in the record of this meeting. At the chair's discretion, they may be read into the record during the meeting. After all testimony has been taken, the board will discuss and review the request. Generally, the Board of Zoning Appeals will decide to approve or deny each requested variance at the meeting that it hears the testimony. Some decisions may be continued for further review.
In every instance where the board grants or recommends a variance, there must be a finding by the board that 1, the strict application of the provisions of the zoning code would result in practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship inconsistent with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. 2, that there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property involved or to the intended use or development of the property that do not apply generally to other properties within the same zoning district. And 3, the granting such variance will not be of substantial detriment to the public interest or to adjacent property owners or improvements in such districts which the variance is sought, and will not materially impair the purpose of the zoning ordinance.
The Board of Zoning Appeals operates according to the provisions of the Kent City Zoning Code, which provides for the establishment of the board. Members of the board, Kent citizens serving without pay, visit sites and hear evidence, both pro and con, at public meetings before carefully and conscientiously rendering a decision. After a decision has been made, the case is closed for the board, as there is no provision in the code for the board to reopen a case. If the petitioner disagrees with the finding of the board, there are only 2 proper procedures. One is to resubmit a revision of the request that is more compatible with the code. And the second is to institute legal procedures in the common pleas court.
Anyone who's going to be testifying, if you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give before the Board of Zoning Appeals shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Kevin?
Eric, you don't have applicants with their hands up. There you go.
There you go.
And
Kevin?
Kyle is not on video, so he'll just have to testify that he is taking the oath because we don't have video on him.
Okay, this is the.
For the
So-
record, Kevin, you said I do?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, that's what I was
Say
waiting.
I do, okay.
Kyle, applicant Kyle, we can't see you on video and you're muted. Did you have your hand raised for the oath? All right, I guess we'll ask at his case time, but we don't have.
We'll take care of it.
confirmation.
Oh,
There it
there we
goes.
go.
Kyle, did you?
I'm sorry. This is my first Zoom meeting, so I didn't know I was muted. But yes, I do as well.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, our new business, our first case is case BZ 21-003, Kyle Vion, 1230 Middlebury Road. The applicant is requesting two variances. Variance from section 1161.27A to allow a driveway to be 31 feet width, where 24 feet is the maximum width. And a variance from 1161.27A to allow the driveway to have varying widths instead of the same width from the right-of-way to the terminus of the improved area. Kyle, do you want to explain your project to us, please?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So unfortunately, the driveway is actually already completed. Last year, I was kind of forced out of my job due to COVID, and so I did start a business. And in the process, I needed enough room to park a larger truck that I had to purchase and an equipment trailer. So I reached out for the permits to do so, and I was directed to Jennifer Barone. I got a hold of her and explained just quickly what I was trying to do over the phone. And her main concern was whether or not I was touching the apron, which I was not. So she told me in most cases that it would probably be okay as long as I wasn't touching the apron, but to send her some sketches of exactly what I was doing, and she would review it and let me know if she saw any issues. So I sent it to her immediately, and I gave it about a week, and I had not heard from her. I'm not very tech savvy, but I do know that when I'm expecting an email to check my spam box and my junk box and all that, and I hadn't received anything from her. So I gave it about a week, and I tried calling her, and I understand she's a very busy woman. She was pretty hard to reach, and I never did hear back from her. I gave it about 2 weeks longer and went ahead with the project. So the current driveway, there was a turnaround there and a paved walkway to begin with. So I expanded the walkway by 9 foot and replaced the turnaround to make it all one area. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you have the drawings in front of you. I have them here with me, but the driveway does now extends 20 foot beside the home along the garage to allow room for a trailer.
Okay, yeah, we have does everybody have a copy of the diagram?
I do.
Okay, so it runs 60 feet. Is that 60 feet from where the turnaround used to be to the back
Yes,
end
sir.
of it? Okay,
Yep, the closest edge of that towards Middlebury Road is where the old turnaround ended.
okay. And then the original front on Middlebury Road is the same as it was.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have questions for Mr. Vion?
Clarify for the record, Chairman, I want to say that there is in the materials you received a copy of the email that Jen Barone did send to the applicant.
Yes.
The applicant is reporting he did not receive it, but there was an email sent regarding the addition replacement and referring him to the zoning code, and that it would that what he was proposing would not be allowed. That was sent on September 30th, but the applicant has reported he did not receive it. So I just wanted to clarify because it had been indicated that she had not gotten back. Jen did send an email though.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
have a copy of it. Does everybody have a copy of that also?
I do.
Okay,
If I could just expand on that, if that's okay. Yeah, I did not in any means mean to make that out like Jennifer did not get back to me. I kind of forgot about that. So when I say I didn't receive it, and I had explained this to her as well, I understand that I have no way to prove that. But I have searched and searched and searched specifically for that date and that time in my inbox. And I truly did not receive that. And I understand that that's not her fault at all. I'm not trying to put blame. So obviously, like I said, I can't prove that, but at the same time, I would not have, it doesn't make sense for me to ask for permission if I was going to ignore a no anyway. Had I seen that email, then I certainly would have come up with something different. But yeah, it would be devastating for me at this point to have to remove that because I won't be able to operate my business accordingly. So that's why I'm here meeting with you guys now.
well, I'm going to ask a quick question. If you made an initial contact to the building department,
Sure.
we didn't hear back within a reasonable length of time, and emails do get lost. I've been a tech weenie most of my life. Could you have had a follow-up call to the building department before you poured concrete?
I attempted to, yes. I attempted to reach out to Jennifer a few times in the following weeks of that. I know that she doesn't work certain days of the week, and yeah, I was not able to get a hold of her. And actually, the last time I had contacted the receptionist, I don't know the name of who I spoke with, but the receptionist, I asked if there was anybody else that I could reach out to, and was told that Jennifer was the only one that dealt with those. So again, she may have tried to email me separately from there as well. And I don't know. I have since added all of your contacts and everybody else from the city of Kent to my, I think it's called VIP in my email, so that I don't miss any of the other ones. But obviously too little, too late. But yes,
So
I did try.
your attempts to reach the second time were telephone based?
Yes, they were.
Bridget, what is your procedure down there if Jennifer's not there on a given day?
Jen, I can't speak for every single case, but she does get back. If there was a voicemail left or a message left with Kim, the receptionist, that information would have been provided to Jennifer. She keeps actually even phone logs of every voicemail she gets, and tracks that information as to when she tried to reach the applicant. So it's unusual for someone to not respond back to a voicemail or a message left with Kim.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I have. Anybody else on the board have any questions for
Yeah.
Mr.
Kyle, your email of 25 January 2021 says in the last sentence, now I'm receiving letters of complaints. What am I supposed to do? Who are the complaints from?
Oh, that's a good point.
The letter that I received from the city of Kent, just at I believe the last paragraph of it had said that it was brought to their attention by complaints. So the complaints were not received by me. Just a letter from the city said that the only reason I would have received it would have been from complaints of the drive.
When did you pour the drive, Mr. Vion?
The drive was poured in August, I believe, late August.
This last fall, August?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so somebody was not happy with it. That would fit into the January timeline, Dave. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who that would have been. Nobody had contacted me. And actually, since spring of 2020, I have not even had a neighbor. Unfortunately, the gentleman next to me passed away. And then I have Yakavana Street on the other side. I am a corner home. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
you know, I don't know who, nobody reached out to me to say anything. So.
Okay. Bridget, did you say something?
Yeah, to clarify, the applicant said the concrete was poured in August, but the email correspondence from Jen was in September. So Jen would have responded back to an inquiry with regards to that sooner than a month. So some clarity on that. And just also, Jen does go out and do entire city field inspections. So she may have witnessed it herself with regards to, you know, getting a call and she went out and saw it. So she could have been the one that got an anonymous tip or in a drive-by.
Okay, that makes sense.
I just have a quick question on, because I was looking at your, does your neighbor who is to your right side, because it seems like from just the lot lines, looks like now the way the driveway is it pretty much butting right up against their side now?
No, not even close. There is roughly 17 feet from the edge of the drive to the actual property line. I say roughly, it's probably within 8 inches of that without actually having it professionally pinned. And then from the property line to the neighbor's home is another, I would say probably 15 feet. So yeah, there's plenty of room still. It's not encroaching on the property line or the home whatsoever. And as well as it did not change the grade of the property at all. My home does sit naturally higher than the neighbor's home. And so the way that they have the ground graded between them is to create a trench between the homes so that all water runoff still continues to the back of the yard. So I haven't changed anything as far as grade, and no, it's not close to the home whatsoever.
Okay. Jonna, do you have any thoughts, questions?
No questions at this time, Paul. No, thank you.
Okay, committee's finished and our discussion's done. So we're open for, let me get my procedure here. It's my first time as chair, so. Is there anybody online that is in favor of the variance to speak on behalf of Mr. Vion? Okay, hearing none. Is there anybody out there that on the YouTube world that would like to speak against the variance with Mr. Vion? Okay, public comment is closed. So we will now move to our internal discussion. So any thoughts, anyone?
We have run into this before in a couple of instances. There was one just off of Graham Road. I think he did a very good job, although it's bright white, that will go away in time. It is within his fence line, so it is not near his property line. I know we are not supposed to consider financial hardship in whether he gets that or not, but it seems to me he sort of did everything he could to try to comply without knowing the bureaucracy of Kent City. I don't think it's a bad looking addition. I think it will bleed off. And if he has to park a truck there, so be it. I think it would be, you know, quite an imposition to jackhammer that thing out of there. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Anybody else? I kind of feel the same way with Dave. I mean, I really hate it when we post-install requests for variance, and I know we've had others. We had one over here on, I think it's Stonewater, same kind of issue that was put in.
Right.
And I agree, making him jackhammer it out would be unduly harsh. I drove out by there too. Other than the very whiteness of it, it is not horribly intrusive. And it does support, you know, his need. I guess looking at our three, let me get some paperwork here. Hold on. Okay, here we go. First condition, with the strict application of our code, result practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship inconsistent with the general purpose of the code. I don't know, how does everybody feel about that one? I guess the hardship might be that he needs parking for his gainful employment.
Well, there
It is
are
on
two
his
different ways to look at that. If he had asked before he poured concrete, then we would have one discussion. Now he's asking after the concrete is set.
Right.
So is that an imposition? Yeah, it kind of is in a way.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, would we have considered it differently if he had come before he poured it? I agree.
With that phrasing, and Eric can correct me, it's in strict application of the zoning code. In other words, allowing the variance for that condition to go forward.
Correct.
Whether it's there or not is moot.
Right. That's kind of how I'm looking at it too. You know, would we have allowed it anyhow?
That, and Paul, what you just said, that's how we have to look at it. Said we can't look at it as, well, is it in a position to remove it? The question is, would we have allowed it in the first place? That's how you have to look at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring.
Okay, good. We're on the same page.
Okay, and so I guess in the realm of that district, there are exceptional, extraordinary circumstances. Do not apply to that property or other property. Well, that whole street out there has interesting driveways in it. In fact,
Yes, it
yours
does.
probably is turning out to be one of the nicer ones, Mr. Vion. From what I've seen down there, I know a little farther down the road, it's a big gravel pit.
Yes, sir. Yep.
You are in consistency with the general tenor of the neighborhood, I think, which probably addresses our third thing. Would such variance be of substantial detriment to the public interest? No. Or adjacent property owners or improvements. So I base an opinion on the fact that nobody's complaining. Probably the complaint that you got was somebody saw the driveway and said, ooh, that's not code. We need to pursue that. So that complaint probably came from the city, and we've had some others come up that way because the city does go out and check these things out. And some of the driveway requirements are a little newer in the code. We're getting a little stricter on that. So I'm rattling on here, but I think you've pretty well met the three criteria.
I would tend to disagree with you there.
Okay.
I don't think that there's much of a practical difficulty or a necessary hardship inconsistent with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. I think it's kind of unique that he needs to park larger, more industrial equipment. But I don't know that that's necessarily what residential driveways are intended to be. And I don't think that there are extraordinary or exceptional circumstances applying to the property, in that it's a house with an existing driveway that's roughly what, 35, 40 feet from the road to the house.
16 feet wide. But I'll throw a counterpoint out there. If he had a 2-car garage, he would have had a 25 to 30 foot wide driveway like my neighbor up the street with the 45-foot long motorhome sitting there.
Well, 24 feet is the maximum width, so it would not have exceeded
that would be a
24 feet.
typical two-car wide driveway. So, and that's an odd one too, because the street frontage is still 16 feet, which should have been the original frontage.
And actually, that's the weird one, right? It's like needing the second variance, and the only way to avoid the second variance with the existing driveway would be to add more concrete. So I'm actually much happier granting the second variance to allow the differing widths, because it keeps a little bit of frontage there. I just wanted to point out that I don't know that we can just kind of excuse the first two criteria quite as leniently. And I think the other point that was brought up was there were no complaints from neighbors that we have on record, but also worth noting, he's on the corner and the only neighboring house is empty. So if someone were living there, I'm not sure. And I don't mean to be insensitive, but I don't know how that person would have felt about a driveway encroaching sideways towards their home there. So
although I did
to balance the conversation a little bit.
Well, that's good balance. Thank you.
I did notice when I drove around, looked at his house and also other houses in the neighborhood, though, that those houses are not pushed together cheek by jowl. I mean, there is quite a bit of space there. It's a corner lot, which is very open. It just seems to me it is not a shocking thing to look at once it stops being white.
Yeah, and I mean, flip side, Paul, I think you made some good points. There isn't that 2-car garage. And additionally, there's no on-street parking on Middlebury, right? So it's not
Right.
like he can offload another vehicle. So again, just
Well, and I think even if he stayed with the single lane driveway and the turnaround, I don't think there's enough space there to park the truck and still have access to the garage. So you'd have double vehicles or something, and wind up something in the yard.
sure.
Okay, any other comments? They're both very well done. Does anybody care to make a motion?
Oh, all right. In case BZ 21-003, Kyle Vion, owner of the property at 1230 Middlebury Road, I move to grant the first variance to section 1161.27 alpha, a variance to allow a driveway to be 31 feet in width where 24 feet is the maximum width.
7 feet. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll
I can second.
Okay,
Oh.
Debbie second. Okay. All right, let's vote.
Yes.
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 Jonah, did you go yes? Okay, I'll go yes, so the variance passes for that one. Dave, since you're on a roll, Mr. Mayor, you want to do the second one?
Oh,
So,
in case BZ 21-003, Kyle Vion, owner of the property at 1230 Middlebury Road, I move to grant his application for a variance from 1161.27 alpha to allow the driveway to have varying widths instead of the same width from the right of way to the terminus of the improved area.
Second.
Jonah, second, okay. Let's vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, passes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Vion, good to go.
Thank you, everybody, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome.
Am I okay to log off?
You may log off unless you want to sit through this exciting meeting.
I'm gonna go put my kids to bed. I appreciate the offer, though.
That's a good plan.
You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
you too.
Let's see, this goes over here. Okay, next, what I do, I brought the thing. Well, I'll be ready to give that. A side comment, who's gotten their shots?
Let's move on with the meeting first.
Okay, because I'm thinking if we can get back in person soon. All right, in case, second case would be case BZ 21-004. Kevin Rogers, property 1089 Leonard Boulevard, is requesting a variance to section 1161.21 paragraph A to allow 6-foot tall fence in the front yard along Judith Street. Okay, Kevin,
Yes, sir.
you want to explain to us your project and why?
Yes, sir. So we were looking, moved home in 2016, and we've been looking to get a fenced-in backyard ever since then. I lived here my entire life growing up. I went away to Columbus to college, and unfortunately, my dad passed away, so I ended up moving home and taking ownership of the house.
Cool.
Wanted a fenced-in backyard ever since I could remember growing up. Finally have the opportunity to do it. We're looking to come 8 feet off the left side of the house away from Judith, 143 feet back, 112 feet across the back, 143 feet coming down Judith, and then 16 feet into the house. What I was told when I called the city of Kent, I spoke to Heather File, I believe, and she made it clear that in the city of Kent on a corner property, the side yard is technically considered a front yard. That was the issue that we were running into. We're looking to run the fence just off the corner of the back of my home, but because that's technically considered a side yard, they're saying it's a front yard. It's 24, the corner of the fence would be 24 feet away from Judith and over 100 feet away from the intersection of Judith and Leonard. So if we were worried about it being an impediment on vision, I mean, it's so far back off the road that that wouldn't even come into play. And if we were to lose that, our other option was to take it down to a 4-foot fence where we lose a little bit of privacy. If we wanted to keep it a 6-foot fence, we could come directly back off the corner of the home, but that has us losing approximately 2,200 square feet, which it'd be really useful for our backyard. We want to fence it in. We have 2 dogs, 3 godchildren, and we're working on starting our own little family. So we want it to be kind of a protected area back there for them.
Okay, are you looking at 6 feet for the entire fence, all 3 sides?
Yes, sir.
Basically, okay. The only zoning variance would be the 4 feet along the second front that you unfortunately have on your house.
I'm sorry?
Well, you have 2 front yards. That's an anomaly of having a corner lot.
Okay.
If you were on a normal internal lot, this wouldn't have been a problem. So we'll have to address that. Any comments or questions from the committee or the board? Debbie, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I did have a question. So, with the extra space that you were coming off of on the side, did you consider just building it kind of parallel to where your house is already? Because that way you'll still get a little bit more space, but then, because I'm sorry, here, let me hold it up. So I'm looking at right here,
Okay.
right? So like this is your house.
Right.
So did you, since the way that lot is, it's like a little parallel this way. So did you, instead of coming out here, did you consider just from here building it parallel?
Oh, I
So that
see.
way it's still, there's still more,
Just
You
to
know, like you-
clarify though, that's not what the variance is addressing, it's the height.
Yeah.
The variance is regarding the height on this. You can only have a fence 4 feet high in the front yard area. And he has 2 front yards because he's on a corner lot. So it doesn't matter where it hits or connects to his house, that whole basically east side that would run along
I
there
see
is
what you're
considered a
saying.
front yard. So he's
Okay.
seeking variance to go to a 6-foot fence versus a 4-foot fence.
Okay.
So the
So if I
location is moved.
understand that correct, Bridget, then even if he'd move it into the green line, which is the one where it goes straight back from the house,
That's moot. It's
that's
moot.
moot because it's still a 6-foot fence on the street side.
Correct. It's the
Okay.
height on 2 front yards.
Yeah.
It's
Has
so
to be.
even though in his treatment of his yard, he considers that a side yard. When you have a corner lot that faces 2 streets, they're both considered frontages. So he's seeking a variance so that the height can be 6 foot. There's no problem with where he has it located.
Okay. Just to clarify that. Thank you.
Bridget, then I
Kevin.
have an additional question. So it doesn't matter what type of fence, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's the height. The variance is
Okay.
specific to the height. So in a backyard, you can have it 6 feet. But in a front yard, it can only be 4 feet. So he's
Okay.
got a base, or in a side yard, it can be 6 feet. So he's technically asking for what he classifies as his side yard, but the zoning code classifies the front yard for the
Right.
fence to be 6 feet high.
Okay.
Can I ask you, Kevin, what is the fence going to be? Wood, chain link, plastic?
It'll be a 6-foot khaki vinyl fence.
Okay.
No, khaki, not tacky, Paul.
Yeah.
Tacky vinyl? Okay.
It looks like brown wood, but it's vinyl.
Okay. Oh, any other questions from the board?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Jonna?
No, sir.
Okay, I will close questioning for you, Kevin, for now. So we'll go to the public comment. Is there anybody out there in the world that would speak in favor of this variance? Okay, hearing none. Is there anybody out there that would speak against this variance? Hearing none, I will close public comment and we will discuss this internally now. Thoughts?
Okay, my thoughts were, yes, it's too tall. But we've had lots in Kent where we have done this before on corner lots because people want their backyard to be more private. Also, this fence does not come terribly close to
Right.
Judith Street. And it's well back off of Leonard. That small section where the gate's going to be in front, I don't think obstructs Leonard at all. By making it tan, it will be less obtrusive than a white fence. I think it will substantially improve the quiet enjoyment of his property if he has kids and dogs running all over back there. So, you know, I think it's a reasonable request, given that he's a corner lot.
I had very similar observations. Given the placement, providing, as the applicant said, you know, so much visibility around the corner. I think it's really just more of a zoning code attempt at aesthetic to keep front yards looking inviting. But I think having a fence there at 6 foot kind of frames the house as facing Leonard, which was the intent of the
The other thing I noticed that was on Judith is directly across the street, there are no other houses.
Right.
So it isn't like he's occluding somebody's view of his backyard, although he, you know, that's certainly part of the process.
Well, and I think the other thing to consider, if you put a 4-6 foot fence right on the street edge, you're going to have some traffic blocking issues. And I think by him setting this back far enough, we've still have adequate clearance for road safety. And Judith is not a real heavily traveled street, but still there'll be adequate ability there for a motorist to see oncoming traffic on Leonard going the other way. So I think it's a reasonable request considering the double front yard issue. So I'm tending to agree with Mr. Mayo and Mr. Burton. How about you, Debbie?
I agree. I think the vinyl will look a lot nicer than the chain link as well. So, because I see that in the back, it's more so a chain link, but no one's going to see that if it's, you know, if you're going to be doing vinyl to where by Judith. So, yeah.
See, the chain link's not his. That's the next property north, I think, belongs to that.
Yeah.
I think that property is the car dealer, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Clayben is right behind him.
Okay. Well, we're at the point somebody'd like to make a motion.
I'm happy to.
Okay.
In case number BZ21-004, the applicant Kevin Rogers, owner of the property at 1089 Leonard Boulevard, I move that we grant the applicant's request for a variance from section 1161.21A to allow a 6 foot tall fence in the front yard along Judith Street.
We have a second. Okay, let's vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Enjoy your fence, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you very much. We
We
really
hope your
appreciate
dogs
it.
can't jump over a 6 footer.
No,
Are
they're
we-
small.
Fingers crossed.
Ish.
Okay, all right, moving on swiftly here.
Thank you.
Meeting minutes. Anybody have looked at the minutes? Any comments, corrections, or a motion to approve them, please?
No corrections. I thought they were extremely well written. The narrative was good and the plot line was fine.
Compelling even.
So I'm assuming by ascension, everybody motion to approve?
Who seconded that?
I will
John.
second that.
Thank you, Jonna.
Okay, do we have any other business, Mr. Fink?
Well,
We need
just
to-
so the record nice and clear, let's actually have a vote on the meeting minutes there, despite the fact everyone agrees they were well written.
Right, we do need a formal vote.
So Paul made the
I'm
motion,
sorry.
Donna seconded.
We need a formal vote for approval of the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye. Against?
Aye.
Same. Passes. Okay, now do we have any other business, either Ms. Susel or Mr. Fink?
Not from the law department.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn is all we need.
Motion to
I
adjourn,
move that
please.
we adjourn the meeting of the Kent Board of Zoning Appeals for
March 15th.
yeah,
Heights of
March
March.
16th, right.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Who seconded that?
Jonah did.
Thank you.
Jonna.
All right.
Okay, all, thank you.
Good night.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for your
See
people.
you next
flexibility.
month.
Moving
Hope Seth
around.
will be more happy next
I
month.
apologize for the technical difficulties. Well, at least we got it done finally.
We've been on a roll. I mean, it was bound to happen sooner or later. No
Right.
worries.
As in every month?
They had been seamless there for a while. It was time for something to go awry.
Absolutely. I think we did great.
Hey, we pulled it off. It was a good meeting. Maybe why I asked about shots a minute ago is if we get us all vaccinated, maybe we can get back in person.
Well,
soon.
let's make sure that we keep things outside of the meeting agenda till the end of the meeting or before, not in the middle and between two cases, please.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you. Good
You're
night.
welcome. Take care. Good night.
Good
And
night.
we'll see you.
Good
Maybe,
night.
do we have stuff next month?
I'm not sure. Heather is muted right now. She'll let you
Oh,
know.
Heather's on here. There she is.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Do we have a meeting next month?
We do, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll look forward to it.
Is it going to be a Zoom meeting again?
There will be Zoom meetings until, we're gonna have meetings until council meetings meet in person.
Uh,
Okay, we will allow plenty of time then.
Right now, the emergency order that the city's under is still in place and it will not be suspended until the governor suspends it. So when the governor says
Okay.
that everything, all the emergency orders are relinquished, which he said will happen when we get down to below 50 cases per 100,000 for a 2-week period. At that point, then the city will move back to normal meetings. So I think we got a couple of months at least.
oh, yeah.
What
All
is
right.
Tom
Care.
doing? What is Tom doing with the city? Do you know?
Tom, who?
Tim? Tim.
Tim? Oh, Tim
Yeah.
Sar, you mean?
Tim,
Tim
yeah.
works here now. He's actually Jen Barone's replacement. He's the development engineer working for the site plan review and planning commission work. So
Good
Thank
for
he's,
you.
him.
Yep, good for him.
So he is a PE then.
yes, he is. The position requires you to be a professional engineer.
I
So,
thought so. That's awesome.
And a cheesemonger.
yeah, he ended cheesemongers. That's why he was available.
Cheesemongering is gone, but his
Yes.
wife's still running the toy shop.
Yep.